First off, could I get the timing rules for table topics, please?
For table topics, each speaker will have 1 to 2 minutes to respond. I'll show green at 1 minute, yellow at 1 minute and a half, and red at 2 minutes and 30 seconds to qualify.
Thank you. Again, to our guests, do you guys, so you'll get called on and have a question, and you have 1 to 2 minutes to answer. You try and go until you see that green. If you don't know what to say, just make something up. It doesn't really matter. The point is just to get you talking and get you up here and get comfortable speaking off the cuff. So are you guys, are you comfortable with being called on? I won't call you first.
Of course.
I'll let some other people. Yes? Yes? Awesome. You'll be fine. So today's theme is frustration. So all the topics or questions are around that. Usually I try and figure out why frustration or why the theme was picked, but I could not come up with anything, unfortunately. So I'm sorry. Also, note, it will not be in poetic form. That's not my thing.
Yeah, you can't.
First, so I looked up a bunch of quotes, and you come across all kinds of stuff for frustration. One that I saw was, frustration is the gap between what we expect and what we experience. So when I think of that, nothing embodies that more than dealing when it comes to customer service, both as the customer and sometimes as the person providing the service. You run into a lot of frustration. I used to work at Panera Bread Company when I was in high school, and I can experience or speak to dealing with customers sometimes who probably were very frustrated with, well, I know were frustrated with me, but I was equally frustrated because, again, that difference in each of ours experience and expectations. Thank you, Sarah. So, speaking of that, Sarah, have you ever had a customer service, either as a customer or as the person helping the customer, experience that was frustrating?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. Never have I felt more prepared for a table topic question than that. I've worked at a few retail establishments. I worked at Sports Authority, Kohl's during the seasonal time, and Barnes & Noble. Sports Authority was the worst place I ever worked. It's not in existence anymore for a reason, but I will say I was a very pleasant customer service representative. I was lead cashier, and it was Thanksgiving. And Sports Authority was open on Thanksgiving because people want to go buy sporting equipment at a discounted rate instead of spend time with their families. No, I was not bitter. But we were giving away a special coupon to make the customers come back, and I was told by my boss, 1 per transaction, I don't care how many people are with them, like that is it, just 1, not 1 for everybody, just that transaction. And I rang this family up for a treadmill, and when I gave them the coupon, they were like excited and, oh, what's this? And well, they wanted 1 for everyone in their party, and telling someone no it's just not worth the pain. It's not. You know, when you're in customer service, when someone gets to a certain level, you just have to give them what they want, which is the unfortunate truth. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. So I was in quite a conundrum when I tried to listen to my boss and get the customer to feel somewhat satisfied, but in the end they told me I ruined their Thanksgiving.
That's great.
Thank you, sir. Yes, dealing with the public is always such a joy. I came across another quote, that expectation feeds frustration. Martin, can frustration be a good thing?
Well, yes it can. I think as a master procrastinator, frustration definitely drives me to be very efficient in those last few hours before a deadline. I don't know how many of you are procrastinators or have ever procrastinated on anything in your entire life. It is amazing to me that some of you didn't raise your hands. I want to know what your secret is. I cannot remember, and this is a constant battle for me. This is like one of the things that I think I want to be on my deathbed and thinking about, like, man, I wish I could have conquered procrastination. Like, I kept putting it off all the way around. But there have been so many times that I can recall, in grad school, even on work projects, where it's just something so annoying, and I'm like, I know this is going to take like 3 hours of focus, but I don't want to give it now. I want to just do it tomorrow or the day after, and then it's due a week from now, and I'm like, all right, it's 3 hours till, gotta get going. And then something else comes up, like, oh, we have a Toastmasters things going on, and someone needs help with their speech. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll help you for 15 minutes. That turns into 30. And so now I only have like 2 out of the 3 hours left. And amazingly, it gets done. And then I realized, wow, if I had just put in the 2 hours, like, I would have felt so good. And I should remember that next time. And of course, what happens the next week is pretty much the same thing. So I have had some success with that. It is a frustrating battle to fight that particular frustration. It is definitely one of the main conundrums that I will be struggling with throughout my whole life. If you have an answer, please let me know.
As a fellow procrastinator, I can relate. Everyone experiences frustration with something, as you can see. A lot of times, sometimes it's stuff out of our control. I say a lot of times it can be stuff that's out of our control. And frustration can lead to anger and, not good outcomes sometimes. So it's important to find a way to cope with that frustration or to vent. Ellen, how do you cope with frustrations in your life?
I deal with frustration by talking to people about it. I think my mom and I are very similar. She sees things the way that I see them. I'm a pretty logical person. I am more facts rather than emotion, and she's kind of like that too. So just being able to talk to her about it, that's kind of how I deal with my frustration. I would say that, she's probably the person that I like to go to the most. Just being able to get everything out there and then have someone, I guess, understand where I'm coming from and be able to provide feedback that kind of counters where I stand as well. I think that helps a lot too.
Going along with that, I think venting sometimes can be a very useful thing for getting frustrations out. So, it's time for a little vent session, a little therapy, right? So, keep it PG and obviously only share if you're comfortable, what you're comfortable with, right? So, Dominica?
Yeah.
Come up and share a current frustration that you have.
Okay, so
Could be the fact that I just called on you.
So I am ending my internship on Friday, and the current frustration that I have is that the week before school is always busy, and it's not a time for me to relax and take that time to mentally prepare myself for the semester. So after I leave Friday, or actually I leave on Monday, I fly out back to the East Coast. I'm from South Carolina. And after I leave on Monday, I return home. I have a day to pack up my belongings that need to go back to my school. That's another 3 hours away. And I have a pre-arrangement to go to this J. Cole concert. So that's a big thing on Wednesday. So I drive another 2 hours to go to this J. Cole concert. on Wednesday. I drive back home to get my hair done on Thursday. This is great. This is great. Yeah, I've got a lot of time. As well as finish packing up my belongings to take them back to school. That's another 3 hours away. Then on Friday, I will be driving back to Charlotte, where the concert was, another 2 hours to meet with my sister to drive another 4 hours to get to Charleston, so that we can spend my mother's birthday in Charleston on the water. So I move into school on Sunday. And so I will be driving from Charleston Sunday morning all the way back to Greensboro, which is another like 6 hours. And I will start school on Wednesday, so I have 2 days to relax. And the schedule always happens right after an internship, so I have gotten used to it, but it's still frustrating. So,
No rest for the weary. So sometimes there's frustrations I've realized that seem trivial, right? They're very silly, and you get frustrated by them, and you know you shouldn't because of they're so trivial, which makes you even more frustrated that you're frustrated about them. And I think of, for instance, the people who, when you're driving, like to go out and they zip up and then they front, and that's what causes all the traffic jams, right? It's stupid, and it's like, it shouldn't really bother you, but it, yeah. totally bugs you. Or maybe it's something else for you. Maybe it's dishes in the sink, or people who chew with their mouth open, or Aaron shoehorning words in wherever he can.
And winning like a.
So, Rick,